To, I think it's now our 6th in our webinar series as part of the Timber Development UK 2022 Student Design Challenge. And tonight we're joined by two very special guests from Trimble. I'm Kirsty Connell-Skinner. I'm the Sustainable Construction Partnerships Manager at Edinburgh Napier University. And one of our absolutely key sustainable construction partnerships is with Trimble and Trimble's education team. We are one of 2 UK universities to benefit from the amazing opportunity of having a Trimble Education Lab. And as Edinburgh Napier are one of the key supporters of the Timber Development UK competition, and we're delighted that Trimble have extended that support into providing some really fantastic software options for every student participating in our competition this year. So I'm not going to spoil the surprise of what wonderful gifts Trimble are offering up to you. That's going to be up to our guests tonight, Chris Brasher and Steve Griffin. And as sort of Tabitha alluded to, the sort of first half of the sort of tonight up till about roughly 7 o'clock will be recorded in order that this webinar can be shared and watched by other students who are joining us for the competition. And then the second hour up till 8 o'clock or round about then is a chance for you to do some team building. Obviously, the competition is developed through students participating in teams, bringing your individual skills, knowledge, experiences, and hopefully a bit of geographic differences into designing the Hereford Southside build. And obviously tonight is a great opportunity for you to get to know each other, to sign up into teams, and to get cracking on your proposals and applications. So without further ado, Chris, can I hand over to you? And just a reminder, as Chris is talking, if you want to put some any questions in the chat, and then hopefully we'll have some time for some Q&A afterwards as well. Right, Chris, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. Let me just officially share my screen here. So let me know when you can see this. Introducing SketchUp Studio. See my screen? Great. Well, hi everyone. I'm just going to jump into this. My name's Chris Brasher. I'm an EDU program manager at Trimble. And today I'm going to be reviewing the products that you'll be getting free access to in the SketchUp Studio. SketchUp Studio is a Trimble product. Many of you may know SketchUp from its Google days. SketchUp's actually been around for about 21 years now. It's gone through some iterations in that time. It was owned by Google for a fair amount of years in order to help populate their Google Earth with 3D models. They've since found a way to create abstract 3D models on there using satellite data, so they no longer really needed a CAD program. It didn't make sense for their business model. So Trimble purchased SketchUp about 7-8 years ago now. Might be longer than that, couple of years, give or take, but it's really suited to Trimble. Trimble is a construction technology company, so it makes a lot of sense to have SketchUp within their product offerings. So I'm going to go to our next slide here. SketchUp's not just a 3D modeling application. Many of you may, if you've heard of it, know about it being an easy modeler. We call it 3D for everyone. But the SketchUp Studio offers a family of products that are built to enhance and accelerate a designer's workflow. These are going to be accessible to all competition entrants, all of these different programs we have here within the studio, including Layout, Extension Warehouse, SketchUp Viewer for HoloLens, SketchUp Viewer for VR, Style Builder, Pre-Design, Sefaira, Trimble Connect, Mobile, and Web. And of course, the Pro Desktop, which will be the main client version of SketchUp that you'll install and use. What are all of these? Well, we're going to talk about those briefly here in the next few minutes. SketchUp Studio products are used across multiple design stages. They accelerate the design process from conceptual design, modeling, stakeholder collaboration, all the way to construction documentation, and even beyond that for project check-ins, call-outs, all kinds of things throughout the entire life of a project, even through to occupation. You can kind of see here on this this life cycle of a project where we view and where our customers view SketchUp and the different products kind of fitting in. Let's start with pre-design a little bit. Pre-design allows you to easily connect the dots between climate and concept creation right at the start of your project. You can use clear, compelling graphics from pre-design for presentations and can steer your projects in the right direction. Pre-design allows you to work with what the climate means for you and your architectural design. It gives you a lot of feedback on location, on weather reports throughout the year from that location. It talks a lot about, gives you a lot of insight into that, how much glazing you should be using on a building. I'm looking at the presentation here on another screen. Insulation, solar control, maximizing your glazing with different window types and positioning. Basically, it helps you to understand which shading solutions are best for your design. It gives you clear guidance on the suitability of a wide range of top lighting solutions as well throughout your model based on location. And what kinds of architectural features you might need to utilize to make an outside space usable. Here you can see that it provides heating 36% usability within this specific location that was resourced for this particular screenshot here. Really allows you to add an informed story about climate to your design narrative right from the beginning. So a lot of great insights there within the pre-design product. SketchUp Pro Desktop, again, is the main flavor of SketchUp that most of you might have heard about. This is the one that you download, you put in a license in there, and it's all based on your computer locally. It's very powerful. It's useful from, again, the early stages of design all the way to final project delivery. It provides easy to use drawing tools that are combined with accuracy and detail that are needed to produce constructible models, or really stunning images, cost estimates, material schedules. A lot of things can be produced inside of SketchUp beyond just the 3D model. SketchUp allows you to iterate easily. It's kind of a superpower of SketchUp. You can kind of see here in this screenshot that you're able to hold multiple designs within a design and turn those off and on, all the different aspects. Really allows for really tight and accurate model specificity. Gives you the power to tackle small or large scale projects, all the way from urban design projects to specific buildings and projects within that design. SketchUp gives you the control over robust model management features. You can see here that you can actually organize those elements within SketchUp just like you would layers within a Photoshop file or any other creative software. Showcasing, again, the specifics here, you can see that this model is organized restaurant folder, site and surroundings folder, and you can easily turn those elements off and on here within SketchUp. SketchUp allows you to generate reports and schedules right from within the model. You can see here what's happening in this little GIF is that GIF. I prefer GIF. We'll go with that for graphic interface. Anyway, what you can see here is that SketchUp has a report interface that allows you to determine what aspects you want to report out on and create those right from within SketchUp, produce that as a CSV spreadsheet. You do so much with that information. There's new tools and features all the time being added to SketchUp. You can actually access a bunch of those from within the extension warehouse. So the extension warehouse gives you access to, well, let me back up a second. SketchUp has an open API, meaning that we've opened our development to anyone that wants to design a plugin or extension for SketchUp. And we make most of those available through the extension warehouse. Gives you a lot of access to different little add-ons, including parametric design capabilities, point cloud design capabilities, allowing you to work with scans within the model. Live Sync, here's an example right here, Lumion Live Sync. Lumion's a very popular 3D rendering program that some of you may have heard of if you're in the 3D modeling space. Works really well with SketchUp. SketchUp actually plays well with a lot of the renderers out there, but one specific plugin or extension for SketchUp is the Live Sync, so you can see what's going on in your rendering as you model in SketchUp. The top one here is an extension called Profile Builder that allows for parametric modeling of elements within SketchUp. You can see an example there of pulling out the electric grid here, and here's a fence example where basically you determine the elements within the modeling window of how you want your fence or your element to be built, and then you just drag and pull, and SketchUp through this extension will populate all the modeling elements that you require. So Extension Warehouse is a very popular and powerful capability. All right, the next element here is the 3D Warehouse, which you can access within SketchUp. Many of you that have used SketchUp might be familiar with the 3D Warehouse. It's a really great resource. Actually, it contains millions of free models for use that you can instantly download into your SketchUp model. If I were to use these elements here that are shown in this picture, I would download those. I wouldn't bother designing those from scratch, right? The SketchUp warehouse has all kinds of use case scenarios in there. It's actually the world's most popular 3D library. It has tons of downloads actively every day. Find pre-built components from different manufacturers. I'm just looking here at this screenshot. This Apple computer exists within the warehouse. You know, this chair, all these elements. Really allows you to save time and add a lot of flair to your designs and usable, you know, assets. You can find and specify real-world products as well. There's a lot of manufacturers that list their libraries and their catalogs right from within SketchUp. The next product we're going to talk about within this portfolio is Sefaira. Sefaira, just like it says, it empowers sustainable design, allows you to analyze building performance during conceptual and schematic design phases. It's kind of based off the same technology that pre-design is, but it gives you an active report on your design as you're building. Building performance analysis, creates simulations during that phase, generates results powered by industry accredited analysis engines. Really, it only takes minutes to do this. This really helps to deliver better performing buildings in the long run. It's used by a lot of our sustainable architecture customers here in the States and internationally. The next product within Studio is Layout. Layout is kind of the sister accompanying program to SketchUp. You can think of SketchUp as 3D and Layout is 2D. With Layout, you can translate those true designs with ease to your, translate them to your intent. It combines the SketchUp 3D models with text and 2D vector illustrations. Basically, it's, again, your 2D space for your 2D documentation. You can see here within Layout, you can easily take that SketchUp model and create multiple view windows showing your different scenes within SketchUp. And the really cool thing here is as you update your model in SketchUp, it's reflected across all of the documentation you've created in Layout. So you can see here, you're actually navigating SketchUp space here within Layout. Really cool stuff here. A lot of people aren't familiar with Layout. They'll take their drawings out to like Adobe, Layout or InDesign rather, things like that. Layout really works with a similar UI to SketchUp. So if you learn SketchUp, it's really easy to learn and get started in Layout. All right, the next feature is SketchUp Viewer for HoloLens. If you have access to a HoloLens, this is a great add-on. It allows you to experience those designs in augmented reality. It's a powerful new way to explore that our customers and user base are really just starting to onboard in big numbers here in the States. You can view designs within this as a tabletop model or be fully immersed at a 1-to-1 scale. You can see that here that they've kind of blown up that view into a 1-to-1 right over the real space. So you can walk around a real space and experience the model at the same time. SketchUp Viewer for virtual reality is kind of based off the same technology, but in a fully immersive virtual reality space. It allows you really a rich and powerful way to evaluate, coordinate, and communicate your design intent. This works with Oculus Rift. These AR viewers also work with even mobile technology. You can even get the augmented reality viewer on your mobile devices, your iPad, your iPhone, your Android device. It's kind of another view of that. You can access all your model catalog, the 3D warehouse, all from your phone. So really, really cool thing. I love to show this to university students normally when I'm traveling around different universities that you don't need a HoloLens. HoloLenses are great, but they're not affordable to everyone, right? They're not that accessible. But most of us at this point have one of these little fancy phones in our pockets that can also allow us to access the same technology. Here you can kind of just see orbiting on the move using your phone. Uses the accelerometer in the phone to actually navigate around the 3D space. So it's actually kind of fun to use and walk around. All right, Trimble Connect is the next product within the portfolio. It's a cloud-based platform This allows you to model share in the cloud. So if a stakeholder in your project doesn't have access to SketchUp, you can get them into Connect, and they can use the viewer within Connect to mark up the model, to view Revit models, to view point clouds in the same model viewer. So it really gives people kind of an agnostic way of using a SketchUp data. Kind of like Dropbox, but for your 3D data. Here you can kind of see that user interface a little more clearly. This is actually bringing in SketchUp model and a Tekla model. Tekla is a different product that Trimble makes, more in the realm of structural design, engineering design. The big market for that is like our structural engineers. But this is the power of Connect, allowing you to utilize those multiple products in one view space. Within Trimble Connect, there's also a visualizer. It's a rendering engine for SketchUp within Connect that you don't have to go and learn an entirely new user interface for. Kind of works like a Lumion or a, oh gosh, there's so many renderers out there besides Lumion, V-Ray, just to name a couple. There are a couple of popular ones, but this allows you to create some of that same imagery without going to have to download one of those major packages. This works on Windows only right now, so if you do have a Mac, unfortunately, it's a little limited on Mac usage. Well, that's kind of the product run through at a quick glance. What I kind of want to do here while we still have time is show you, before you have access to that, through the license that we're going to offer you, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. I also kind of want to show you what you can do in the meantime to learn a little bit more about SketchUp. So when you're out there on the web, there's a couple places I'd go if I were you to start learning a little bit more. The first one being SketchUp.com. If you go to SketchUp.com to get started, you can actually download a free 30-day trial of SketchUp Pro, which allows you to utilize this and kind of get your feet wet, get familiar with the program before the competition actually starts. Would highly recommend going here and checking out this resources tab right at the top here. Learning will get you pretty far in here. The blog is user case studies. SketchUp Campus, I'm going to click on this really quickly to show you. SketchUp Campus is in-depth training for SketchUp. It comes with all these courses here that are completely free to use. There's actually, I believe right now we're up to a couple pages worth of courses, each of those with sub-lessons. So there's SketchUp Fundamentals with 37 lessons within the course. This is really the best place to start. It has exercise files that you can download. Quick start. These are some of the basic tools that that the course walks you through within SketchUp. So really a great resource. Again, completely free to start on if you want to kind of give yourself a head start if you're not familiar with SketchUp. Go back here. A lot of fun things here too. Beyond just SketchUp, here's a V-Ray and SketchUp course. CAD to 3D workflow. I believe here we also have a graphics follow along, which is an Adobe, Photoshop, and SketchUp tutorial. Here's a specific rendering SketchUp to Photoshop, layout essentials, scan essentials, which is the 3D point cloud plugin, which we won't be getting into too much within the scope of this competition, but it is out there, it does exist. SketchUp does have the capability of modeling right off of point clouds. Let's see, another resource I would point you to, and this one is a little less official, but YouTube. YouTube is where I learned how to use SketchUp long before I worked for them. I was using it for 3D printing, wanted to know, how do I get this program to work? YouTube really got me to novice, I would say. And we have our own official channel on YouTube. If you look here at the presentation screen here, you'll see this is the SketchUp channel with 432,000 subscribers. Here we have a bunch of different video series. Just click on our videos. We have Square One video series, which is where you get started with each of these workflows. Detailing meshes from Square One talks just about the brass tacks of how you get into it. There are skill builders, which are a little longer, that talk a little more in depth about how you might achieve certain results or workflows. Feature reviews, brand new in SketchUp 22 skill builders. Again, just countless videos here to get you started, all the way to like 3-hour model alongs for modeling specific, trains, residential buildings, mechanical parts, how to animate. This this is a rabbit hole where you could spend months really, but this is where I learned SketchUp again, and highly recommended resource for you as well. The last one I want to talk about very briefly here, let me go back a couple here, is to the SketchUp resources page again. Again, here, there's a direct link out to the YouTube channel, our blog. Our forums are pretty helpful too. If you ever get stuck in a workflow, you just can't get it to work the way you think it should work, our forums are a great resource. If I click on that here, I'll show you the forums page here. Here you can see there's very niche questions like exporting DXF files to cut files, or maybe digital fabrication workflows. Exploded view extension. Someone had a question, is there a good extension for getting exploded views that will just explode my part without me having to do it manually into all of its base elements? So a lot of, again, niche questions here where you might find an answer, or just post your question. We have SketchUp sages within the forums that their sole purpose really is to just get in here and answer those tough user questions. So that is the 30,000 foot view rushed presentation on everything that you'll be getting access to within the SketchUp Studio portfolio. Lots of neat, exciting stuff there. But the basic question, right, that we start with is, well, how do I get access? Well, for that, I'm going to kind of hand off this presentation at this point to my colleague, Steve Griffin, who's done the hard work of putting this this together for you, the licensing package for Studio, and he'll tell you kind of exactly what the process is going to look like for getting access to that. So thank you. If you have any questions about the products, feel free to post them in the group chat here. And again, without further ado, I'll hand this over to my colleague, Steve Griffin.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Yeah, great job with that overview. There really is a lot in the SketchUp Studio package, and you know, I encourage students and competition participants to really dig in and explore. You know, a lot of folks are familiar with SketchUp or maybe have some experience with it, but there's a lot more to the SketchUp Studio package that helps with kind of the full you know, project cycle of design work. So, you know, as Chris demonstrated, you know, all those tools are available to you through SketchUp Studio. And the way they're accessed is done through a single sign-on with an account that we call your Trimble ID. And so, you know, in order to access any of these tools, what you'll do is you'll download them through the SketchUp website. And then once downloaded and installed, each respective program will prompt you to log in using your Trimble ID. So that same credential will allow you to access all the tools in the bundle, you know, no matter where they're installed. You know, so for instance, SketchUp Pro is a desktop software that's installed directly to your PC. And Sefaira operates as an extension for SketchUp. And so that's accessed through the extension warehouse. And then accessing it is done through the same login process using your Trimble ID. And in order to request access to SketchUp Studio, what we'll have you do is once your competition teams are formed, please reach out to Tabitha and inform her who's participating on your team, and she'll add you to the list of participants, and we'll get you access to SketchUp Studio shortly from there. Once you've been added to that SketchUp Studio account, you'll receive an automated email from Trimble prompting you to create your Trimble ID. And from there, once that ID has been created, you can log into the site, download any of the tools that you're interested in using, and access them simply by logging in. So that's really all there is to it. And with that, I will hand it back over to Tabitha.
Just a quick note, Tabitha, sorry here. Great questions in the chat. Links to these resources I would check out. Just go to SketchUp.com. Right from the top of the page, there's a resources dropdown that has links to all the resources that I discussed with you. So the easiest URL to remember is just SketchUp.com. It's pretty easy to find all those other resources.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Chris and Steve. And yeah, that's a little answer there to Shona's question also in the chat. We've got obviously plenty of time if there's any questions to our two guests from Trimble before we let them back to their, well, it'll almost be lunchtime for you guys, won't it? So yeah, we don't want to wait too long for that. If there are any questions, if folk want to, I think we're okay now to, you can turn on your camera or speak, or just use the chat. Oh, we've got a question from Joshi. Does the license just run for the competition?
The license will be good for a period of 1 year, starting now. So it'll be valid through, I believe it's like late January of 2023.
Yep. It is a student, that's incredibly generous, so thank you so much for Trimble. It is a student license, so if you're going to develop something really whizzy and cool and sell it for millions of pounds, we're going to want a cut, okay?
Yeah, so you'll have continued access, through the coming year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Beneath, will all the members of the team have access to the software? Yep. Definitely.
They should, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they will.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, you need to be a registered team by the registration date, which Tabitha will keep you right on, and obviously be named as part of that team. But yeah, everyone who is named as such and has a working email address will get the access to the software.
And it looks like Shona had a question earlier on. It was higher up in the thread about referencing 3D models that were obtained through the 3D warehouse. And I'll defer to you guys for the competition and the sort of standards that you want to keep for citing work that's used.
Yeah, absolutely. Ali also has a question about Mac compatibility. Chris, I know you mentioned that some things were only PC compatible at the moment. Could you maybe share a bit more detail on that?
Sure, yeah. There's a couple of extensions that only work on Macintosh, and a couple elements of Trimble Connect that only work on Windows, and a couple elements of Trimble Connect that only work on Windows. SketchUp Pro and Layout, which are going to be where you're spending the majority of your time, work great on a Mac. Fully compatible. In fact, most of these SketchUp Office, SketchUp team members use Macs. I don't. I have to demo this all the time, and most users are on Windows, so I switched over a while ago, but it's completely great on a Mac. A lot of professionals love the Macs with SketchUp.
I know this because I got a sneak preview of Chrissy's puppy in the background, and as a cat owner, the whole Mac PC thing, it's like cats and dogs. You tend to love them. But yeah, that's good. Ali, I hope that works for you and your team. Are there any more questions before we let Chris and Steve escape to their lunchtime back in Boulder and Denver? Oh, from Shona, is pre-design a SketchUp extension or standalone software?
Pre-design is web-based and it's standalone. So, but since it's web-based, it'll work on anything, Mac or PC. We'll keep it to that.
Okay, super. Right, last call. Any more for any more? Okay, unless anyone is furiously typing, Chris and Steve, on behalf of all of us at Timber Development UK, Edinburgh Napier University, and NMITE, and all the competition partners, so I want to say again a massive thank you for your generosity in supporting our students with this wonderful software for them to realise their amazing designs for the Hereford Southside competition. As we all said, we'll be in touch once the teams are formalised with your access to this software. And on that note, I just want to, in the usual way, join a little round of applause for our presenters tonight. Thank you so much. If you're a student, please don't go. We're going to force you into teams. No, we're not.
All right, thanks everyone. Good luck. I look forward to seeing your designs. That's my favorite part, of seeing what people build in SketchUp. So thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to see what you come up with. So best of luck in the competition.
Perfect.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, gents.
Okay. Tabitha, do we want to stop recording now, or do you still want to do this bit?
If it's just okay, so just a reminder, this is all about the Southside Hereford University Design Challenge 2022. We're looking of teams of 4 to 8 to form from multiple disciplines and cross universities. to design a single physical building that is predominantly from timber, and that's to Passivhaus standards. Yeah, the clients require about 800 square meters, and there's a budget of 1.6 million. And this is where I've lost my slides, because I can't see them. There you go. The site for the physical building is on the boundary of 2 fields. So it's a greenfield site, formerly park and farmland. And you'll have seen from some of the presentations that we've already brought together about understanding biodiversity, sitting lightly on the planet, designing for reuse and circularity, and looking at modern methods of construction. And the University Design Challenge information is mainly held within the TRADA website, but it is also on the Passivhaus website, who we are working with. The videos are recorded, as this one is, and will be put up on the YouTube channel, and the webinar series is booked via Eventbrite. We're asking people to sign up as soon as possible so we can form teams and then distribute the software, I think, from the beginning of March. We couldn't put this challenge on without support from our sponsors. So our major sponsor, Transforming Timber, our silver sponsors, Akoya, PEFC UK, PH15, Stora Enso, the Timber Decking and Cladding Association, Wood for Good, and Rotterdam, and our software supporters, who you met tonight with Trimble. You'll also be introduced to the International Passivhaus Association, who will be providing Design PH and the PHPP planning package. Now, these also both work off SketchUp. We will also then link to the AEECB carbon calculator, which can become a plugin to PHPP. So hence they all link together, and why SketchUp and Trimble is going to be so beneficial to you. Or we'd also shout out to the UFI VocTech Trust. So come and join in, come and get upskill, get work ready, come and meet other future professionals, to come and have a fun challenge and learn more.